Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, today we are starting new chapter, chapter 3, Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. Next one onwards. Shri Narad Uvacha Hiranyakashipu Rajan Ajayam Acharamam Atmanam Apratidvam Ekarajam Vyadhitsata. Narad Muni said to Maharaj Yudhishthira, the demoniac king Hiranyakashipu wanted to be unconquerable and free from old age and dwindling of the body. He wanted to gain all the yogic perfections like Anima, Lakima, to be deathless and to be the only king of the entire universe, including Brahmaloka. So far in the previous chapter, he gave nice lecture, nice instructions, nice philosophy to Mother Diti, to the wife of Hiranyaksha, to the sons of Hiranyaksha, and he quoted Yamaraja's instructions. But he was like, these instructions are not for me. I'll work exactly opposite. So this is actually demoniac. Although they're very intelligent, demons are very, very intelligent, much more than human beings. But the only problem is they don't want to serve Krishna. That's the only problem they have. And it is a huge problem because if you don't serve Krishna, you will serve somebody, you will serve yourself. So to serve oneself and to serve one's body, one wants to remain young forever, because once we get old, we cannot enjoy this body, and one does not want to die. Because if we die, then that's it. There's an end. So this is what he wanted, to be unconquerable, free from old age and dwindling of the body, and to get all kinds of yogic perfections, because that means he wanted to enjoy more and more, unlimitedly, and unconquerable means nobody could defeat him. So his plan was, just like in the end, he will ask for all the benedictions. So his plan was, okay, I want to be immortal, but if not, let me be unconquerable. So if I'm not immortal and somebody defeats me and puts me in the prison, then what's the use of this kind of life? So this is really demoniac. Such are the goals of the austerities performed by demons. Hiranyakashipu wanted to receive a benediction from Lord Brahma, so that in the future he would be able to conquer Lord Brahma's abode. Similarly, another demon received a benediction from Lord Shiva, but later wanted to kill Lord Shiva through the same benediction. That was Bhasmasur. Thus, self-interested persons, by demoniac austerity, want to kill even their benedictors. Whereas a Vaishnava wants to remain an ever-existing servant of the Lord and never to occupy the post of the Lord. Through Sayujya Mukti, which is generally demanded by Asuras, one merges into the existence of the Lord. But although one sometimes thus achieves the goal of the theory of monism, one falls down again to struggle in material existence. So this was his goal, to achieve everything. Satepe mandara dronyam tapah param darunam urdhva bahur nabho drishti padangushta shritavani. In the valley of Mandar Hill. So from the description of universe that we studied, so there was this Mandar Hill. I don't know where exactly. So Hiranyakashipu began performing his austerities. And what kind of austerities? By standing with his toes on the ground, keeping his arms upward, and looking towards the sky. This position was extremely difficult, but he accepted it as a means to attain perfection. Extremely difficult austerities. Jata ditipi reje samvar tarka ivanshubhi tasmin tapas tapyamane deva sthanani bhejite. From the hair on Hiranyakashipu's head, there emanated an effulgent light, as brilliant and intolerable as the rays of the sun at the time of dissolution. So this was because of his tapoval, taposhakti. Seeing the performance of such austere penances, the demigods, who had been wandering throughout the planets, now returned to their respective homes. So just imagine he was standing only on the toes, not even the full foot, and raised his hands up and looking up towards Brahmaloka and doing this austerities, thousands of years. So what happened? The light, effulgent light, came out of his head, and seeing this, the demigods, as we studied previously, when Hiranyakashipu had sent all the demons on earth to stop the yajnas, the demigods came to the planet Earth to see what is happening and to report it to Brahmaji. So when they saw this, what is this happening now? Somebody is performing austerities. So they all returned back to their planets. Tasya murdhana samudhuta sadhumo agnistapomaya tirya gurdhvam dholokan pratapad vishwagiritaha. Because of Hiranyakashipu's severe austerities, fire came from his head. And this fire and its smoke spread throughout the sky, encompassing the upper and lower planets, which all became extremely hot. See, Dhruv Maharaj also performed austerities, and he was a little boy, 5-year-old boy. And when he performed austerities, and he was standing on one toe, and when he pressed that toe on earth, the whole universe started to shake. Not because of his weight, but the weight of the tapobal, the power he got. And now Hiranyakashipu, he is performing austerities, and because of his, fire came from his head, and it was like burning, or the whole universe became extremely hot. So much of power is there in the austerities. Chukshu bhur nadi udanvanta sadvipadrish chachalabhu nipetu sagriha stara jajvalushcha dishodasha. Because of the power of his severe austerities, all the rivers and oceans were agitated. The surface of the globe with its mountains and islands began trembling, and the stars and planets fell. All directions were ablaze. Wow. And this is why he is doing only austerities. He's not doing anything else. He's not going anywhere and terrorizing. And what will happen after he gets all the powers and terrorizes the whole universe? We can only imagine. Tena tapta divam tyaktva brahmalokam yayo sura dhatre vigyapayayam asur deva jagatpate Daitendra tapasa tapta divisthatum na shaknumaha. Scorched and extremely disturbed because of Hiranyakashipu's severe penances, all the demigods left the planets where they reside and went to the planet of Lord Brahma, where they informed the Creator as follows. O Lord of the universe, O Lord of the demigods, O Master of the universe, because of the fire emanating from Hiranyakashipu's head as a result of his severe austerities, we have become so disturbed that we could not stay in our planets but have come to you. So from their planets, demigods could not stay there because of it. Everything was becoming hot. So they went to Lord Brahma's place and they reported him for all the austerities Hiranyakashipu is doing. Tasya chobashamam bhuman videhi yadi manyase lokana yavanam nakshanti baliharastva. O great person, chief of the universe, if you think it proper, kindly stop these disturbances, meant to destroy everything before all your obedient subjects are annihilated. So they came, they went running to Lord Brahma, kindly stop this. And why to Brahmaji? Because he was praying to Brahma. Hiranyakashipu was praying to Brahmaji. Tasyayam kil sankalpash charto dushcharam tapaha shruyatam kimna viditas tavathapi niveditam. Hiranyakashipu has undertaken a most severe type of austerity. Although his plan is not unknown to you, kindly listen as we submit his intentions. Srishtva characharam idam tapo yoga samadhina adhyaste sarva dhishnebhya parameshthi nijasanam tadaham vardhamanena tapo yoga samadhina kalatmanoscha nityatvat sadhyeshe tathatmanaha. The Supreme Person within this universe, Lord Brahma, has gotten his exalted post by dint of severe austerities, mystic power and trance. Consequently, after creating the universe, he has become the most worshipable demigod within it. Since I am eternal and time is eternal, I shall endeavor for such austerity, mystic power and trance for many, many births, and thus I shall occupy the same post occupied by Lord Brahma. So demigods are telling that this is a real intention of Hiranyakashipu. He wants to take over your position. Hiranyakashipu's determination was to occupy the post of Lord Brahma, but this was impossible because Brahma has a long duration of life. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, 1000 yugas equals 1 day of Brahma. The duration of Brahma's life is extremely great, and consequently, it was impossible for Hiranyakashipu to occupy that post. Nonetheless, his decision was that since the self, Atma, and time are both eternal, if he could not occupy that post in one lifetime, he would continue to execute austerities life after life so that sometime he would be able to do so. But this is the problem with demons. Even if he gets to the position of Lord Brahma, which he could not, his point was not to serve the Lord. His intentions was to take over, control, enjoy. This is what demons do, right? This is what we studied in Bhagavad Gita. They think Ishwaroham aham bhogi balvano aham sukhi. I am Ishwar, I am bhogi, I am balvan, I am sukhi. But they don't understand the plan of the Lord. That's where the problem. Anyathedam vidhasye aham yatha purva mojasa kimanya kala nirdhuta kalpante vaishnavadipi. By dint of my severe austerities, I shall reverse the results of pious and impious activities. Another thing they want to do is they want to do everything their way. Karma should work the way I want. I shall overrun all the established practices within this world. Even through Loka will be vanquished at the end of the millennium. Therefore, what is the use of it? I shall prefer to remain in the position of Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu's demonic determination was explained to Lord Brahma by the demigods, who informed him that Hiranyakashipu wanted to overturn all the established principles. After executing severe austerities, people within this material world are promoted to the heavenly planets, but Hiranyakashipu wanted them to be unhappy, suffering because of the diplomatic feelings of the demigods, even in the heavenly planets. He wanted those who were harassed in this world by material transactions to be unhappy for the same reason, even in the heavenly planets. Indeed, he wanted to introduce such harassment everywhere. One might ask how this would be possible since the universal order has been established since time immemorial. But Hiranyakashipu was proud to declare that he would be able to do everything by the power of his tapasya. He even wanted to make the Vaishnava's position insecure. These are some of the symptoms of asuric determination. So this is what they wanted. First, want to be the enjoyers, controller, proprietor themselves, and create disturbance in the society. Let everybody else be unhappy. Let them suffer. No mood of service. No such mood. Iti shushrum nirbandham tapah paramam astita vidhatasva anantaram yuktam swayam tribhuvaneshvara. O Lord, we have heard from reliable sources that in order to obtain your post, Hiranyakashipu is now engaged in severe austerity. You are the master of the three worlds. Please, without delay, take whatever steps you deem appropriate. In the material world, a servant is provided for by the master, but is always planning how to capture the master's post. And that happens all the time. There have been many instances of this in history. Especially in India during the Mohammedan rule, many servants, by plans and devices, took over the post of their masters. It is learned from Chaitanya literature that one big Zamidar, Subudhi Rai, kept a Mohammedan boy as a servant. Of course, he treated the boy as his own child, and sometimes when the boy would steal something, the master would chastise him by striking him with a cane. There was a mark on the boy's back from this chastisement. Later, after that boy had by crooked means become Hussain Shah, Nawab of Bengal, one day his wife saw the mark on his back and inquired about it. This Nawab Hussain Shah, who was the Nawab of Bengal, he also made Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and their brother Anupam Goswami serve as ministers under him. So there's another story behind that. Let's complete this one, what Prabhupada is talking about him and Subudhi Rai. So Subudhi Rai, he was a Jamidar, big Jamidar, but he had just kind of adopted this Mohammedan boy when Hussain Shah was little as a servant. He kept him as a servant. He gave him lots of love and treated him well, but when the boy would steal something, so Subudhi Rai would chastise him by striking him with a cane. So obviously the cane left some marks on the back of Hussain Shah. But later that boy, by crooked means, Prabhupada says, he became Nawab of Bengal. So one day his wife saw these marks on his back and she inquired. The Nawab replied that in his childhood he had been a servant of Subudhi Rai, who had punished him because of some mischievous activities. Upon hearing this, the Nawab's wife immediately became agitated and requested her husband to kill Subudhi Rai. So this is what women can do. Nawab Hussain Shah, of course, was very grateful to Subudhi Rai and therefore refused to kill him. But when his wife requested him to turn Subudhi Rai into a Mohammedan, the Nawab agreed. So this is how Hindus, they were converted into Muslims. The Mughals or whoever from Afghanistan or whoever came at that time and captured many parts of India, the original Muslims, there were not that many who came. But see how he converted Hindus into Muslims. Taking some water from his water pot, he sprinkled it upon Subudhi Rai and declared that Subudhi Rai had now become a Mohammedan. So the Hindu society at that time was so strict. So he just sprinkled some water from his water pot on Subudhi Rai. And now he has become a Muslim because Brahmins would not accept him back. That was a big mistake on part of Brahmins. But I guess this was supposed to happen. The point is that this Nawab had been an ordinary menial servant of Subudhi Rai, but was somehow or other able to occupy the supreme post of Nawab of Bengal. This is the material world. Everyone is trying to become master through various devices, although everyone is servant of his senses. Following this system, a living entity, although servant of his senses, tries to become master of the whole universe. Hiranyakashipu was a typical example of this, and Brahma was informed by the demigods of his intentions. So coming back to that story of Subudhi Rai, so he declared that Subudhi Rai now has become a Muslim. So Subudhi Rai was devastated, obviously, and he went to the assembly of Brahmins, and Brahmins told him, there's only one way for you to become a Hindu again, is you drink burning hot ghee. So the point was, by drinking that burning hot ghee, he will die, and next life he will become a Hindu. So Subudhi Rai was completely devastated. What kind of punishment they're giving me? So this was wrong on part of this Hindu Brahmins. So he was just living in his home, and then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out that this has happened, so he told Subudhi Rai, you go. So this all happened in Bengal, and he asked Subudhi Rai to go to Vrindavan. He said, go to Vrindavan, and when all these devotees from Bengal and Odisha, they come to Vrindavan, serve them. So Subudhi Rai followed these instructions, came to Vrindavan, and he was serving the devotees by, because from Bengal and Odisha, when they would come to Vrindavan, so two things were difficult for them. One was the weather was cold. Not in summertime, but winter time, or at night it was cold. So Subudhi Rai, who was a zamindar, big zamindar in Bengal, but he took a very simple and menial position. So he would massage. He would give massage to all these devotees who would come from Bengal to make them feel hot. And then he would also feed them rice, because Vrindavan being in northern part of India, so people eat roti more than rice. But the Bengali devotees, when they would come, they would miss rice. So Subudhi Rai would prepare nice rice items and feed them. So this is how he served the devotees. So anything materially, which was difficult, was devastating for him to get this kind of punishment from Nawab Hussain Shah. But by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it all became so uplifting. that he came to Vrindavan, he stayed in Vrindavan, and he could serve the devotees. So Mahaprabhu's mercy is unlimited. And anything like negative, so-called negative thing happening in a life, ultimately it becomes positive by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Krishna. All we have to do with determination, just keep on serving. If Subudhi Rai had just been a zamidar and lived in Bengal all his life as a Hindu, no problems in his life, then he would have just left his body in Bengal without getting a chance to come to Vrindavan and serve the devotees. So we should not be scared of anything negative, so-called negative happening in our life. Something Krishna has planned. We just don't know. We just carry on with our services, with the sadhana. And sooner or later, things will be revealed. And talking back about Nawab Hussain Shah, so he found out Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and the brother Anupam Goswami, because he wanted some ministers, and he knew that Hindu ministers are very loyal and they're very intelligent. He didn't want to keep any Muslim ministers because he himself somehow by hook or crook he became Nawab, and he knew if he kept some Muslim minister, he would do the same thing to him, what he did to his master. So, but these three Goswamis, they would not take up the position. Actually, their names were not Rupa and Sanatan because that was given to them by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on. So their names were, I'm forgetting, Santosh and Amar Rai, something like that. I'm forgetting the name. Santosh was there, yes. Sanatan Goswami. Forgetting the name of Rupa Goswami. So anyway, so Nawab Hussain Shah approached these three brothers. And he said, you serve under me. Of course, they said no. They were Saraswat Brahmins and they didn't want to serve under this Yavan king. But Nawab Hussain Shah said, if you don't, then I'll make sure. I'll give you my word. I will kill all the Brahmins and all the Vaishnavas in Bengal, in my kingdom. I'll kill them all. I'll break all the temples. But if you become my minister, then I'll promise not to do this. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami were left with no other choice than to become the minister, than to take up the position. So this, and they knew this Hussain Shah, Nawab Hussain Shah was very, very demoniac, very cruel person. He had asked some engineers and the masons at that time to make a very huge tower, probably in Ramkeli because that was his capital at that time. So a huge tower to mark his victory on certain parts, certain kingdoms. So huge tower, very tall tower was built. And when he came back from his victory, one of the victory marches, he came back and he wanted to inspect the tower. And he went on the top of the tower with the engineer and with all the workers and with his ministers. And he went on top. It's just like we can think of Qutub Minar, something like that. So he went on the top. And when he went on the top, he saw one of the bricks or something like it, one of the stones or one of the rocks or one of the bricks was not properly placed. Huge tower and one of the bricks, they made a mistake. So what did he do? being a cruel person. That's why it's very difficult to trust them. So he just picked up the engineer and he threw him from the top of the tower on the ground. That's it. And the mason also. He just threw them and he killed them. So this is how cruel he was. So anyway, so this is what demons do. And this is what demigods are telling Brahmaji, that he wants to take over your position. So anyway, we'll stop here and continue with this story tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.